On the Genesis 70 and 75 breaker panels, the main idea that we want you to know is that some of the configurations or some of the features on this panel will be slightly different, but the main idea is generally the same. So to start on this panel, your first two columns on the left half are all 120 volt items. All of these either run off the generator or your guys' inverter on this boat. The easiest way to distinguish between your generator fed breakers and your inverter fed breakers is any time that your generator is off or your main breaker is in the off position, you will see that many of those lights go out. These are going to be your items that are fed by that generator. Inversely, the lights that stay on in that 120 volt section are being powered by your inverter. All those need in order to operate is the inverter breakers on the panel, and you'll need to have a 12 volt charge on those batteries.
So going down the first row of your guys' breaker panel, the inverter breaker, you guys will have two on board the boat. You're going to want to make sure you leave those on your entire trip. This is just going to invert power from the house batteries to other high draw appliances. So make sure you leave those on your entire trip. The dishwasher breaker, you're going to turn on, as well as your water pumps whenever you need to use the dishwasher. This is a generator fed breaker. Your forward deck outlet is for the outlets on the front deck of your boat. You have port bathroom outlets, which is for outlets in the bathroom. You guys have your hot tub fill pump. So for that hot tub fill pump, there'll be a full other QR code video on board the boat, as well as instructions in your manual on how to get your hot tub going. But for your hot tub, whenever you are using it, I highly suggest having your generator running, as that is going to use a lot of power to keep the water circulating throughout the hot tub upstairs. Below that, you have a generator switch just shown like in the video. The other main breaker switch is going to be shown in the top corner of the video. On board the boats, you guys will have one or the other option. For the generator switches shown in this video, the main thing is once you guys are out on the lake, there is going to be no shore power. You're only going to use the top generator L2 or L1 breaker. So make sure that is in the off position before you start up your generator.
Ready to start your generator, the first and most important thing you have to do is turn the main breaker to the off position. That main breaker is what's connecting the power feed from the generator, so we just always want to make sure that you're not starting it under a load. Once you've confirmed the main breaker is off, you simply go to your generator start and stop and hold start for 1 second, release it, and you should see a green indicator light pop up on the switch showing that your generator is going to start itself up. Once that generator turns over, I just want you guys to let the gen warm up for a good 5 to 10 minutes before you flip the main breaker to the ship's gen position. This is just allowing the generator to warm up before it is charging our batteries and powering those high output. The gen off is reverse of what we did at the start. Simply flip your main breaker back to the off position and hold stop on the generator start and stop until it is totally off.
So this is another style of the actual inverter panel here. So this inverter panel tells you what your battery charge is on and throughout your guys' boat. So once again, 12 volts is the minimum. If it goes below 12 volts, there is a 12 volt alarm on the boat, so it will slowly start to beep at you. So it's a single beep and then about 10 seconds and it will beep again. That just lets you know you need to start up your generator and let it charge, usually for about 2 to 3 hours after you would get that low voltage alarm, in order for yourselves to get a good charge. If you shut off the generator as soon as that alarm goes away, your battery is going to drain down quickly and set that alarm off again. So this panel will say one of three things on it. It will say inverting when your generator is not running and your boat is not charging. It will say bulk charging when your batteries are slowly charging up. And it will say float charging or full charge once your batteries are full. So in a couple seconds, your charging light will engage. It will say charging for you guys once your generator is on and you're set to ship's gen. And slowly it will click in and it will let you know what your full charge or your bulk charge. So for this boat here, it is set to float charge, which means your batteries are full. Going down the second row of the breaker panel, once again you have the inverter breaker. Leave that on your entire trip. Galley outlets are for the outlets in your main area. You have a washer dryer breaker. On all the Genesis boats, only the dryer is hooked up. You have starboard bathroom outlets, which is outlets in the bathroom. You have aft deck outlet, which is for the deck outlets upstairs. You have your island outlet breaker, which is for your main island outlets. You have salon outlets for the salon area outlets. You have your wet bar fridge for your wet bar upstairs. You have a satellite breaker for your satellite dish up top, which will help get satellite TV for your TV. You have stateroom TVs for each of your bedrooms will have a TV. You have more galley outlet breakers. Salon fan for the main fan in your main area. You have salon entertainment breaker, which is for your salon entertainment in the living room. Your microwave breaker. Make sure whenever you are using your microwave that you do have the generator running, as that is going to draw a lot of power and drain down your batteries fairly quickly. So Twin Anchor suggests you guys have that microwave running, or whenever you're using your microwave, have your generator running. Next below is your stove breaker. For your stove, you're going to need to have this breaker on to power it on. And finally, your fridge breaker. You're going to want to leave your fridge breaker on your entire trip. If you turn that one off, your fridge is going to be off. You're going to have warm drinks and warm food, and nobody wants that on their trip. So make sure you leave that on your entire time. Going down the third row of breakers here, you guys, it's mainly just lights. It's running off 12 volt DC power, so they're all low drawing. You guys can either turn off your light breakers using the breaker panel or the light switches located throughout the boat. Along your fourth row of breakers, you guys have more lights. You have your wet bar stereo for the stereo upstairs. You have a 12 volt outlet, which is for some of the outlets located throughout the boat. You have 2 water heater breakers on board this Genesis boat. You're going to want to make sure you leave those 2 breakers on your entire trip in order to have warm water. If it seems to not have hot water coming out of any of your taps, flip those breakers off, flip them back on. That should relight your water heater and you should have hot water going through the boat again. There is no fresh water tank on board the Genesis boat, so there is no fresh water pump usage. There's no need to have it on, you can leave it off. Your 2 lake water pumps, those need to be off whenever you are driving the boat. For the reason, if you are driving the boat with those on and somebody uses water, you will suck up air into your lake water pump. It's going to airlock the pump, so you'll have no water going throughout the boat. So make sure these are turned off before you start driving. If you need to use water while you are driving, put your boat into neutral, come to a complete stop, flip the breakers on, use the water as you need, and then flip those back off before you start driving again. The last 2 things on the breaker panel are your gas detectors. That's for your CO detectors located throughout the boat. You're going to want to leave this breaker on your entire trip just so that it is continuously sensing gas inside the boat and will set off the alarms if there is any detection. The last one is the panel lights, which is this helpful lights to make it easier to read what is on and off on your breaker panel.